That's right, you've seen the advertisements. It's finally back. Boobies!
SoulCalibur 5.
Give me a second. Want to touch the boobies? As you can tell, the advertising for this game got a little out of control. It's all like, IS titties, IS and titties, IS titties, IS and titties.
Dicks.
What? But seriously, I don't know why they went for that type of advertising when there's really not all that much skin in this game. Most of the girls are covered up. You know, it's certainly not the levels of Dead or Alive. In fact, Hildy, one of the prettiest girls in the game, is completely covered up with body armor, showing no skin whatsoever. Anyway, enough about ass, titties. If there's one thing about SoulCalibur that anybody can say and you can't deny, is that it has really interesting character designs. Having this mix of Asian and Western and European weapon fighting styles all mixed together in one game is really fascinating. The roster is a healthy 28 characters. While some characters are missing, new characters have been added like Zwei, who can summon a discombobulated floating werewolf.
Show him who's boss. Come forward! Mine! You played for this!
KO.
You'll never win. Not in 100 years.
And Viola, who is a witch with this spell orb.
KO.
I don't care whether you live or die.
The franchise staple cameo appearances are back. Thankfully, the gimmicky Jedi have gone back to their own universe, and instead this time we get Ezio from Assassin's Creed, who is a ton of fun to play.
Battle 2.
Tried to warn you. Castillo.
I must say the game's graphics are crisp and absolutely beautiful. The lip syncing is spot on, and the level of detail on the characters is really good. You can even break bits and pieces of armor off your opponents.
KO 2. Fight.
The levels themselves are serviceable, there's a few cool ones, but none really actually stand out. Some don't even allow for ring out wins, which seem to happen less in this game than in previous SoulCaliburs, and that's a good thing in my opinion. There are still ring outs, but you'll need to focus a little bit more on the actual fighting mechanics. Thankfully, this is another area that's been really improved. This is the most accessible, fun, deep, and rewarding system yet. I think it's an improvement over the slightly overcomplicated mechanics of, say, SoulCalibur 4. Now, borrowing from Capcom and Mortal Kombat's playbook, Namco has added a super meter gauge, from which you can either execute a Brave Edge attack, which makes some of your more normal attacks more powerful, or you can save it up for the Critical Edge attack, which is basically a super move.
Now you'll see the extent of my power!
These flashy sequences show off the beautiful character designs in this cool little mini cutaway scene. And they are just immensely satisfying and a great addition, and I hope they stay. SoulCalibur's unique style remains intact. The patented 3D movement that allows you to sidestep attacks and set up for those ring outs. All that is still there, but it seems more aggressive play is being rewarded this time around. In fact, a little too much. It seems like defensive play is being punished. There are two types of guard modes. You have guard impact and just guard. But guard impact seems nearly useless to me because it will use up some of your meter, and block breaks now carry over from match to match, which means you can't block too much. If you play too defensively, you are punished. Just guard is the better choice. It is the one where basically you time it with your opponent's attacks. It doesn't use up the meter, and I've even seen it block unblockable attacks. But all of this together makes for more action, more cinematic type flashy breakaways, and just an overall more fun experience in the actual combat. The best combat yet for the SoulCalibur franchise. Unfortunately, where we start to see chinks in the armor is the single player content. First, the story mode is set 17 years after the events of SoulCalibur 4. And features two offspring of Sophie, a previous character, Patroclus, and Pyra. Both who are uninspired, whining little crybaby clones whose playstyle is almost exactly like that of their mothers. Throughout this 3-hour-long campaign, we see occasional cameos from just a handful of other characters on the roster, but mainly it focuses on these two. Still images tell most of the story, which instantly feels lazy as hell considering how beautiful the in-game engine is. And these sepia-colored stills, they don't even fade out or transition properly between them. It feels really amateurish and out of place. There's an occasional cutscene, but they are too far and few between that really punctuate how odd and amateurish these other sepia stills are. It's as if they didn't have enough time. Basically, if the whole story had been told in these beautiful cinematic cutscenes, it would have been immensely more tolerable and an enjoyable experience. Instead, what's there now just feels rushed, plagued with really awful dialogue.
I've had enough. Leave my sight at once and never return. A dog such as you has no business making demands. I'm no dog. I am a holy warrior. How absurd. You are nothing more than a dog. I couldn't care less about what happened to a pathetic dog's family. She's probably already dead in some alley.
Like fan fiction awful.
Yes. I plan on living out the rest of my life with my sister. But first, we need to learn more about each other.
The sun and the moon cannot rise together. Your wish to remain together is futile.
Shut up! I'm tired of your threats and gibberish. I'm leaving Schwarzwind. Don't follow us.
And honestly feels a bit creepy when the brother and sister start staring longingly into each other's eyes for a little bit too long. Are they gonna kiss? Ugh.
Just shut up! What do you know?
The last 3 bosses in this story mode feel like Shao Kahn levels of cheapness, at least for me, especially when Nightmare is able to cut down 2/3 of your health before you even get up.
You bastard! KO.
So there is a huge difficulty spike towards the end of the game. So really, story mode has no replay value, and it was just poorly executed. Same with the arcade mode. It's an insult. It's 6 random battles with a cheap-ass Nightmare at the end, without character intros and outros for each character. No endings at all. Whereas in Marvel vs. Capcom, at least there was a picture of what happened at the end. Here, nothing. Nada. Instead, it's, congratulations, you've unlocked a clothing item. But who the fuck is ZWEI? I don't know.
Just shut up! What do you know?
I may be in the minority here, but I do play fighting games for the story too. So I can know who the fuck these people are! At one point in story mode, they introduced like 4 characters, all within the span of like 3 seconds, and 2 of them I have never seen before in my life, and they just expect me to know who these guys are.
You can't just trust someone because he's good looking. Remember what we went through?
If you're ready. Let's get started.
What? Who? What? Why? Tutorial mode is a joke! Again, why is it so hard for fighting games to get the tutorial modes right? Isn't this like one of the most important aspects of your fighting game? To learn it? I know it says 5 on the box, but you know, it's not as if we've all played every single incarnation of SoulCalibur ever. And even if you have, in each SoulCalibur, they tweak features, they change the fighting mechanics. A good tutorial mode eases players into these new mechanics. But this training mode is a mess. It's needlessly confusing, doesn't explain itself. It basically just shows you the move list, which, you know, you could find a move list anyway by pressing start, and it says, okay, do it. What the fuck? You do it! You tell me what the hell I'm doing and why it matters! And guide me step by step through it. Ugh.
Shut up. I'm tired of your threats and gibberish.
There's a legendary mode, which is basically just an even cheaper and harder arcade mode, where it's really, really hard, really impossible for those expert pro players. It's just frustrating to go through. It's not a worthwhile mode. Not like challenge modes and weapon master modes of the past. Where are those? Why do you take things out? Just, no! We grow to love these things and they're gone in this game. The only offline mode that seems to get attention is the character creator, which has been a unique thing in recent SoulCalibur games. It allows you to either modify the looks of the current roster, which is really a great and underappreciated feature. It allows me to change their clothes or change just some ridiculous thing about them and make some of the new characters look a little less like Final Fantasy characters. So I appreciate that. Or you can create a custom looking guy. Your own guy, you in the game. And you know, I always love that. Here's my Angry Joe character. This is just my first attempt. It's a really cool feature.
If life is a battle, then a duel is an epitome of one's life.
Why do you choose to fight? You are powerless before me.
There's already some really crazy ass creations out there.
Okay, let's get this started.
Fine, I'll fight.
Final battle. Fight.
I can do it. I'm too young to die.
Did you really think you stood a chance?
You unlock more pieces and things for the custom character creator as you complete the story and progress through the various offline modes. Unfortunately, the only limitation to this is that your created a character has to mimic one of the characters already on the roster instead of allowing you to take bits and pieces and create your own sort of custom build. I would have preferred that, and hopefully that's the next evolution. And obviously the best part about this is that you can fight those characters both online and offline. In offline, quick battle mode, you face off against endless creative creations from people all around the world. And you could just see how outrageous and outlandish some of these characters can get. And you could dump a lot of hours into this mode just fighting. It's a ton of fun. And it's always really exciting to see just one more match to see what kind of character you're gonna fight against next. You can spend countless hours here in this mode alone, and it's something that the SoulCalibur game can offer you that no other fighting game can. This is unique, it's good, and it needs to continue to be this way and add stuff to it. Another really good aspect is the online component. Thankfully, it does seem to have been a focus for the development team. There's standard lobbies with up to 6 players with a spectate mode, a real one, and a chat lobby. There's also global rooms that hold up to 50 players like Mortal Kombat style, where you can chat and even move around your avatar, either directly challenging opponents or putting yourself in a queue. The game also automatically saves your matches in replay so you can review them later and learn from them, which is a really cool feature. You can even set up to 4 rivals, which allow you to just follow their stats and compare yourself to these people as you move along. It's really cool. Lag was only an issue from me from time to time, especially if the other person you have, you can see their connection rating, whether it's red, yellow, green. It really wasn't a big issue, and I'm sure as launch kind of clears up and everything stabilizes, it's not really gonna be that big of an issue. The netcode seems solid, unlike some of the more recent fighting games. And I'm sure as patches come, things will get even better. SoulCalibur 5, unfortunately, is a mixed bag. It makes some improvements where it matters most in the actual fighting mechanics and the online component, but it just goes a bit too far in borrowing from Capcom when it comes to its offline offerings. Do not borrow those practices. And SoulCalibur, the final verdict for it, is a 7 out of 10. This version feels a bit on the light side, especially when you compare it to previous SoulCalibur offline offerings. Had they included a better story mode, an actual arcade mode with character intros and outros so we know who the hell these people are, and at least one of the padding modes of old like Weapons Master, then I'd be recommending this game as the next big fighter game that you must own. However, since that's not the case, it does boil down to a solid fighting experience. It's an easy buy for SoulCalibur fans. It's worth a look at it if you're into the fighting genre, but for the rest of us, it's a really hard sell, especially if you're new to this series. Rent it first to check it out and see if you like it, especially if you like some of the stuff that I showed you. Now, if excuse me, I gotta get back to breaking the armor off of a little, I'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe show.